Hello, everyone. Yeah, I got it. So today we gave you an article to read, as we're trying to do every week, and so we hope that you read it. And if you didn't, we'll just go over it. But first, we're gonna start out with some vocab. Oh my. Okay, I'm not done. I'm just gonna turn this around real quick. See Alex on the chair.
I'm very short.
How tall are you, Alex?
I'm 5'2" and 3/4.
We don't know how much that is in centimeters or anything, so that was real. But Alex is like up to here on the ground. So yeah, Alex is small. But what you gonna do? Anyway, so okay, so we'll just start out with vocab because our theme is about campus life, which we happen to know a great deal about being college students. So we'll start out with some place vocabulary first. Campus, which is just the general place where, hi, Professor.
Hi, everybody.
Professor Anwar.
Alex
I'm back
is behind
here.
the camera. Says hi.
Okay.
Okay, anyway, so campus is just the place where everybody goes. And it's just the general college. Sort of hard to describe, but it's there are some.
The college and the buildings that are a part of it.
True,
So
good.
the dormitories, the classrooms, the dining hall.
All of that is part of campus, and there are different types of colleges that we'll get into later. Actually, we'll get into right now because it's the next bullet. College. There are lots of different types of colleges. Just like, as you might recall, there are lots of different types of high schools in the U.S. And college is the step right after high school. There are certain kinds of schools, like public and private colleges. And a public school is far cheaper to go to. The government pays for a lot of it. Usually those schools are much larger, like thousands and thousands of students that go there and study there. And a lot of the time, at least in my experience, in New York, they're called State Universities of New York, or SUNY for short. And we have a lot of universities. And where I'm from, there's a few state universities that are pretty close by, and probably over 10,000 students go there sometimes. I'm from Albany, and the University of Albany is a really, really big school. And sometimes when you have such big schools, then you have little mini schools inside of that are dedicated to certain studies. So sometimes there's a whole science school, or a business school that you go to, and that is concentrated on a certain number of students as well. So there's schools inside schools sometimes because they're so large. But we go to a private school, a private college, and at HWS and lots of other private schools, we have a very small number of students for colleges. We have about 2,300 or 2,300 students that go to the school. And that's sort of around the same number of other liberal arts private private colleges. And usually those are more expensive. They usually offer a lot of scholarships though as well, to try and help balance the cost. But it's still a lot of money for private schools. That's for sure. So you want to try and pick one that you like if possible.
Yeah, and public schools are not paid for by the government. You still have to pay to go to them, which is different than in a lot of other countries. Like in England, they don't have to pay to go to school necessarily because the government will pay for them to go if it's like a state school.
Oh, and there's also community college. Okay, I forgot.
Yeah.
Community college is a 2-year school. You can go to, people go to community colleges when, they're smaller colleges around your community, and they're 2 years instead of 4-year schools. We're at a private 4-year school. But sometimes, there's there's a school that's near here called Finger Lakes Community College, right? Yeah, FLCC. And that's a 2-year school. And you could go to better learn a trade, or if you just want to get some college education, or I know my dad was in the military, and he went to community college for a couple of years, and then went to a different school because he was in the military. Anyway.
What you get, if you go to a community college for 2 years, you'll graduate with what's called an associate's degree, whereas going to a 4-year school, you're going to graduate and get a bachelor's degree, which is generally more highly thought of.
True. Let's see. We have different religious schools as well. There's probably a lot less of those nowadays in the U.S., but there are still certain schools that were founded on religious values. So there's still lots of Christian schools around. And at one point at HWS, the Hobart students were required to go to church when they were at school. When William Smith was created, they did not have to. That was it was pretty interesting. That's one of like the many things that our founder, William Smith, said, if I am going to give money to this school, then girls don't have to go to church, which was pretty interesting. But an
important thing to mention, I think, is that Hobart is the male school and William Smith is the female school.
Yes.
And they were founded separately, one for men, one for women, but they combined in like what year? I don't know.
I know William Smith was created in 1908. Hobart was founded in the late 1800s.
They combined sometime in the 20th century.
Yeah.
And now they're coeducational, but we still keep the two schools as a reminder of our heritage.
Yeah, it's sort of complex at times, but we really like this school, so it's worth explaining, I guess. Yeah, people ask us all the time, like, it's a lot. But at the end of the day, we get a diploma. The girls get diplomas from William Smith School, and boys get diplomas from Hobart when we finish school. But basically, we are HWS as a whole. Yeah. So there's also certain schools that are much better for certain departments or like certain forms of study. Like there's schools that are much better for science and technology and mathematics and that sort of concentrations. So they have a much bigger focus on those schools, those fields of study. We go to a liberal arts school, so that's where you can pretty much take whatever you want. There are different kinds. There are different kinds of studies to take at a liberal arts school, but they press basically in a liberal arts school. They want you to take as wide a variety of classes as possible. They really encourage spreading out and learning new things, and not just staying focused in one place. Even though you do choose your studies, but they encourage learning in different ways. Basically, yeah. And yeah, so there's many different types of colleges in the U.S. There are some really big schools. There's some very small schools. There's schools that are way more difficult to get into, and there are schools that are pretty easy to get into, depending on who you are as a student and what you want to do with your life, that sort of thing. A lot of variables. It all depends. There's also different schools that are in urban areas, like cities, or rural areas, like in the country where there's not a lot of cities or towns or anything. And the idea of campus is really interesting when you talk about urban schools, because sometimes schools in big cities don't have, they really don't have a campus. They have certain buildings that belong to the school, and they have certain like dormitories and stuff that belong to the school, but in actuality they really don't have a space, like a big space for themselves, because they are in the city, and that's much harder to do. But our school, like HWS, is in Geneva, which is a small town in New York, and we have plenty of space for campus. We're right next to a lake as well, and there's lots of free grass space. There's lots of big empty spaces for us to, use and stuff. And we have lots of different buildings, so we walk to classes a lot. But people in the city sometimes. One of my friends goes to a university in Boston, Massachusetts,
Which is a big city.
which is like New York, and it's a big city, and their buildings are. She only has like 3 buildings in her campus. It's not really a campus. So yeah, she just uses those 3 buildings. I think there's one like much further away that they use occasionally, but for the most part, it's not really a campus style. We're more of a campus style, if that makes any sense.
There's also a group of colleges that are very, very elite in the United States.
The Ivy League schools?
Yes.
Yes.
That's what they're known as. Like, if somebody's like, oh, you're going to an Ivy League school, like, that's a big deal in America. Do you guys know what the word ivy means?
They can't hear you. They're on mute.
Yeah, it's this mossy, leafy stuff that grows on the side of really old buildings. And they're called the Ivy Leagues because all the buildings are really old and have ivy on them.
And they're old. They're better because they're old.
Yeah.
For some reason.
They're all private schools, and they're all very, very expensive and very exclusive and kind of a big deal. Hobart William Smith is not one.
No, it's not. It is a private school. You do have to pay a lot of money to come here, but yes, places like you may have heard of Harvard, Brown, Yale, Stanford. All of those places are really elite, the top-notch universities in the United States. And I know Stanford has like a 4% acceptance rate, which just means that they accept only 4% of the people that apply to that school. It's pretty wild. We have like a 57% acceptance rate or something like that. We're around that.
Which is still pretty selective, but like,
yeah, but it's not
an
as
Ivy
Stanford. Yeah, no. So yeah, we're picky, but we're not that picky, I guess. We're not that picky. Okay, moving on to residential housing, which is just where you live on campus. Also called dormitories, which are then shortened to dorms. So you could say residential housing, but nobody says that. Pretty much everybody just says dorms, shortened for dormitory. And you can have single-sex dorms or co-ed dorms. Single-sex dorms are where Alex and I live, where it's only girls. And it's, much cleaner.
It's so true.
I mean, even our bathrooms are sort of gross sometimes, but seriously though. But yeah, so Alex and I have lived in single-sex housing this past year, as well as last year.
And our dorms have chandeliers in them, which are big fancy lights, and it's not very common.
No, we have a pretty cool room. But yeah, so like single-sex rooms, and obviously you can have the same thing for men as well as women. We're in the women's only, and our dormitories are at the top of this hill on campus. This doesn't apply to like every other single-sex dorms on every other campus, but just for our campus, all the women's dorms are up on this hill. And that's just how they were when William Smith was created. And those back in that time, co-ed dorms were unspeakable and unheard of. But now a lot of dorms on campus are co-ed in addition, and they are usually where all the first years are.
That's not necessarily
Well, no,
true.
not necessarily
No.
true. I was just thinking of JPR and Cheryl.
JPR and Cheryl, but yeah, no mini quad and
Oh yeah, like Durfee.
Turfy's co-ed, yeah. No, I'm also
lives
talking about
there?
Medbury.
Oh yeah,
Cared.
yeah.
A lot
Okay.
of people choose to live in co-ed.
Yeah, it's sort of abnormal to choose to live in single sex, at least like what I got from others.
Yeah.
People were like, why would you want that? Like, you're not getting the full college experience living at a co-ed dorm. I was like, you know what? I don't feel like living with guys. I just don't. My
And plus
personal decision.
We get chandeliers, so
Plus, yeah, also, like, our bathrooms are, like, decent. I mean, not really this year, long story short, but last year they were pretty good. Much better than they would be if we lived in a co-ed dorm. Anyway, so that's that. There are also some other places like the cafeteria where you go to eat your food. And sometimes in dorms there are different kinds.
Can you see it?
These are dying.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's better. And there, thanks. And there are different kinds of there are different kinds of cafeterias, and it's sort of complicated, but there's usually one that you use where we have these little cards that you can swipe, and there's different meal plans and all of that good stuff. So you can get like a very wide meal plan where you get where you can like go into the dining hall as many times as you want, or you can get a more exclusive, a smaller meal plan where you can where you can only go at certain times, or you don't need to go at all, and you can cook your own food or something like that. But they give you those options. I have a pretty wide meal plan because I can't cook for my life. But other people much prefer to cook themselves because they don't like the dining hall food.
It's very bad quality. I mean,
Not the
comparatively.
Yeah, I have very low standards as far as food goes, so I'm like okay with it. But more people with better taste than me, they like grew up with parents who like cooked and things, and my parents did not really. They're not fancy, so so like yeah. Anyway, so you can get different types of meal plans and go into the cafeteria as many times as you want, like me, or you can choose something else. And,
Oh yeah.
So, this is our one card. As you can see, it's you swipe that card and you get into certain places on campus. You can get in. You can get food. You can use this like a credit card sometimes in a way.
At certain places only.
It's more like a debit card, yeah. But yeah, you can pay for certain things using this card, and it's also your ID. Like I used it last night to get into a theater to watch a double feature of some movies that I had to do for one of my classes. And using this card, I was able to get in for free. And sometimes like the businesses in the area will let you do that if you have your ID on you.
You also use it to get into your dorms. Each building has like a little scanny thing that you put your card up to, and it goes beep and lets you in.
Nice. Yeah. We also have the library. So that's pretty self-explanatory. I think the library is just where you go to do your work sometimes, where you go not too many times to check out books nowadays, but in the past, that's certainly where you would do that.
Research projects.
Research projects are like,
I love books.
yeah, oh, I do too, but it's not that often that we go to the library to check out books.
Usually you get your stuff online nowadays.
Or you you buy your textbooks for school before you come, and then they're yours, and you can highlight them or do whatever right in them. Also, there are classrooms, and there are usually different buildings for different departments. Right now, we are in what's called Stern Hall on campus, and Stern Hall was built not too long ago, and it what about Stern? It's like, I think it's like, it's a lot of different things.
Stern is like the weird building.
Stern is like one of the oddest buildings on campus because it sort of houses lots and lots of different departments in one place. You could do, like, I know anthropology professors have their offices here. And I was in these classrooms for like both French and history, and somebody else was in this classroom for chemistry, an introduction to chemistry class. So Stern sort of offers a wide variety of classrooms. But,
most academic areas of study have their own buildings as a general rule.
Yeah, and this especially makes sense with science classrooms because you need like a lot of equipment sometimes to work in laboratories and things. science person, so I don't really understand that stuff, but like you need it for like chemistry and experiments or something along those lines. I'm an English major. I don't usually do science and math, but yeah, I know that much about it. There's also the gym, and the gym is where you exercise and where sports teams practice and athletes work out, and yeah, that's
It's short for the word gymnasium, but nobody says that.
nobody says that. It's usually just gym, and that's it. Okay, so yeah, we can move on to the activities portion, which is sort of small, but like encompasses a great deal of what we do as college students as well as school. Extracurricular activities. So I'm going to take this for a second. Yeah, I see nodding from Ridwan. Yeah, exactly. Lots of what we do. Extracurricular activities. This just means that's the stuff that you do outside of school. So just to break that word down for a quick second, extracurricular. So it's like extra as in like outside of studies or curriculum. So that's fun. We also have sports that we offer here. Some colleges offer some sports and don't offer others. Like, I don't know, I know we offer football, but some other colleges don't offer football as a sport.
We don't have baseball.
We don't have baseball.
Which is weird.
Which is sort of odd. Usually schools have baseball, but we don't. And like sometimes schools might not have a rowing team, but we have a rowing team and a sailing team because we live right next to a lake.
Rowing's where you get in a canoe or kayak and paddle.
It's more like a boat. It's a very big one.
Is it?
They're huge.
I've never actually seen a rowing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a kayak is like a one-person boat.
Oh, and there's multiple people in them, aren't
There's like 10, yeah.
Okay, is it a canoe then?
I don't know what the proper terminology would be, but it's a very large boat with a lot of people. There's one person yelling at everybody else, and they're all moving at the same time, trying to go places. That's rowing. But sailing is like you are like in a sailboat with the wind. This doesn't matter, but
No, it's good stuff to know.
But there you go. Yeah, thanks, Ridwan. That's exactly it. Clubs. Clubs. What we're doing right now as part of 101 Friendship, that is a club at the school. And clubs can be more. What are some more common clubs, Alex?
Like I'm president of the Russian Area Studies Club. We get together and do fun Russian themed things because I study that. But then there's also like the drama club where you act. I'm a member of Wind Ensemble, which is like the instruments.
Yeah, there's lots
club.
of band clubs as well.
There's dancing
Music
clubs. The people get together and do like performances. A lot of stuff.
And there's also lots of volunteering clubs.
Yeah.
So probably like volunteering and theater clubs are pretty wide range clubs that a lot of colleges have. Those kinds. Also like what's called intramural sports, which are like sports clubs for people that enjoy doing sports but don't want to do it competitively. Which I'm in. Oh yeah, I'm in fencing club. I forgot about that. I don't know if you've ever heard of fencing. It's sort of nuts. You have a lot of protection and a face mask, and you have a long sword that you use to touch people with or slash them. It's pretty interesting, and I joined fencing because I'm not athletic, and I thought it'd be fun to hit people with a sword. So great reasons for joining fencing, guys. But yeah, so like there are other more normal clubs, like I don't know, like there's a soccer club, there's probably a running club somewhere, there's a figure skating club, tennis club, all of that stuff. So yeah, you can play those sports without fearing for the sake of your college education if you were to lose. So that's a bit dramatic, but
No, like at Division I schools, you can get scholarships based on how well you do sports. And if you do poorly, you can lose your scholarship, which would really stink. So But it's mostly just about competition. We're a D3 school, meaning that we don't give out scholarships for sports here. So.
Oh, we don't?
No, not supposed to at least.
Okay. I know people have been recruited for sports, have they?
Yeah, I know they definitely get recruited to play. They just don't get paid to go here, at least not on the books.
Sketchy.
Yeah.
So yeah, people aren't supposed to get paid to come here and play sports, but other people seek them out sometimes and say like, hey, we want you to join rowing at this school because you're a good rower and we want you here, but you're not good enough for D1. For Division 1. We're Division 3, so which is less. Anyway, so I mentioned a little bit about volunteering already, but there's lots of volunteering clubs on campus, and there's lots of opportunities to volunteer as well. And this is sort of a volunteering club, I suppose. It is a volunteering club in a way. It's a mentoring club. But yeah, one-on-one friendship, just like all those other clubs we just mentioned, is a club, and I'm the president, and we meet on Mondays and stuff like that, and we have different meeting times. And we also have this mentoring time too. So, okay. So now, if there's no questions on that, we'll move to the vocabulary from the article. And then we'll discuss the article, and we can ask questions after that if possible. Okay. So here we have some vocab from the article that you may not have understood. So a major and a minor is like your focus of study at school, and a major you major and minor you need a certain amount of classes in order to graduate with a focus in those classes. Like I want to be an English major. I haven't officially said that I'm going to be an English major yet, but I want to be an English major with a minor in media and society. So that just means that my concentration and my studies will be focused on those things, and I will need to have a certain number of classes in order to get that major and minor all worked out, so I can graduate with those majors and minors.
Major's like your main focus, minor's like your secondary focus. And you can double major or double minor or choose however many you want, depending on how motivated you are.
Exactly. So yeah, those are majors and minors, and there's some required classes as well that you have to take, like a freshman or first year seminar. And that's a class. That's how I met Alex, actually, in what we call FSEM, freshman seminar class.
Yep.
And our FSEM was about Russian folklore. So it was really, really neat FSEM.
Not all schools do that, though. It's a very unique thing here.
Yeah, not too many schools do that, but usually there are lots of different required courses that first years have to take.
Most schools have more required courses first years have to take, but they're like boring. They're not about Russian folklore. They're about like how to be a college student and stuff like that.
Lame. We know what we're doing. Alex just said no, we don't. It's true. So there's definitely, and there's certain credits that you have to have as a college student in order to graduate, like science, technology, engineering, math credits in a way. We call that quantitative reasoning and scientific inquiry, and you need to make sure that those credits are good to go before you graduate. You need to take a certain science-y class. It could be like a real science class, or it could sort of be like a science class that isn't exactly a science class. Tell about your experience.
Oh, I'm taking a class called Citizen Science right now, and it's actually for my math credit, my quantitative reasoning requirement. Even though it's not really math, it's more about like how you can do science with technology, and like normal people can do science.
Teach students?
Yeah, like using it to teach people about nature and whatnot. It's cool. But I'm not very interested in it because I'm an English major too.
Yeah, so, you can major in whatever you want, but you're going to have to take humanities credits, like arts credits. You're going to have to take certain writing classes at some point probably in order to fill those credits. It's harder for us, Alex and me, as English majors to take STEM credits. science, technology, engineering, math credits because we don't like those things sometimes. But no, but yeah, we'll it'll happen eventually, and it must happen, or else we cannot graduate. So,
We'll just not.
or yeah, we'll just stay here forever. Either way. So another interesting thing from the article was called the resident advisor, or the RA. And what the RA does is it's usually an upperclassman who lives on your floor or in your building, if your building is small enough. And they help everyone adjust to college life, and they answer your questions about what to do at school. They act as a mentor, they act as an advisor, and a confidant, someone you can trust to talk about your problems with. They help break up roommate issues. They help solve those problems as well. They're supposed to be there all the time to help you with whatever you need help with, and they are also your advocate for certain issues about the dorm and stuff like that. They're definitely people that you are supposed to trust in your dorm. And yeah, we have one RA in our whole dorm because it's sort of small. Sometimes the RAs have meetings and stuff, and they want to talk to us about certain things. Sometimes it's about like fire alarms, and sometimes it's about somebody took somebody else's yogurt and this needs to be fixed at some point. You can't take things out of the fridge, okay? It doesn't belong to you. Okay, so
RAs also get their room and board paid for, which is really nice. That's like their reward for doing these jobs, is they get to live there for free, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So yeah, they do get paid for being an RA. Also, this is just like a fun one. The article mentioned a cappella. A cappella is just, I don't know if you know, it's just singing without instruments behind you. So it's just randomly singing.
You ever heard of the movie Pitch Perfect?
Alex said, can you say it again?
Yeah, Pitch Perfect.
Yeah.
You guys know that movie?
Yeah.
That's a cappella.
Yeah. Just in case you happen not to know what that was and you're like, does that relate in any way? No, it's just, a cappella is also a club. So that's another form of activity that you can do. We have a few different a cappella clubs here.
Yeah, one for
Yeah.
girls, one for guys.
Girls,
Co-ed.
guys, co-ed. I think there might be either 3 or 4, I can't remember. Anyway, so there's also the syllabus. And the syllabus is just what you get when you begin a class, and they tell you all the work that you're going to be doing for that semester, what you're going to be covering usually, classroom policies. I'm sure you guys have as well as we do. But yeah, they're very important. You can't lose them. Usually they're online as well, but yeah, it's good to have a hard copy sometimes. Office hours is this last one. And office hours are usually just where professors talk to students about, professors are supposed to have a certain amount of time just given to the day where students can come and ask them questions about homework, about other things. And they're very useful a lot of the times. And you can also sometimes make appointments with your advisor, but office hours are when you can just like come and go as you please. Yeah. So, can you take this part? All right. So here is some discussion on the article. I can hold it if you want it up high. I'm very sure.
The flexibility of classes. Do you want me to just elaborate on it?
Yeah, they're just like, these are just like points from the article that I wanted to elaborate on.
So yeah, classes in college are really flexible. If you want to take a math class, and there's like one in the morning and then there's one in the afternoon, and maybe you're not a morning person, you can be like, you know what, I'm going to take the 3:45 math class because I probably won't get out of bed at 8:30. Which is nice to have the choice. Pyramid style learning. What did you mean by that?
Oh yeah, that was in the article, and if you didn't quite understand that, that was, I believe, when you start from a wider concentration at the, can you hold this for a sec? I'll just draw this real quick. So you start with this bottom portion, and that's just like your first year or something. And as you move up the pyramid, your concentrations in your studies get harder, and they also get more concentrated.
More focus.
More focus. I will be taking more English classes up here than I will here, because I need to for my major and everything. So that's just what they meant by pyramid style learning. If that's okay.
Scheduling classes. This is, our school uses an online system where you go online and you get to look at the classes that are available and pick them and register for them all by yourself. But it's very competitive, especially if you're a first year or a sophomore, because they do it by age, right? The seniors, the fourth year students get to register first, then the juniors, and then the sophomores. So yeah, if you're a sophomore, it's like cutthroat. Like you have to wait until 8 a.m. in the morning to register for your classes.
Not even. It's like 7:40 or something.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And everybody presses their register button right at the same time. And it's like a moment of panic. Like, did I get my classes? Did I not? And then you get the little red X's that say, no, you didn't make it. And then a class had overfilled right as you press the button. And then you have to go reschedule. Anyways, I said that all really fast. I'm sorry.
You always need backup classes for your classes when you register for your classes, because if you don't, then you'll just be left with whatever the scraps of classes that you had earlier. So like say everyone presses the registration button at the same time and say, oh shoot, like you're supposed to be taking 4 classes this semester. Well, too bad, you only got into 2. And the other 2, like you have to, you got to look at your subclasses for those classes and say like, oh, okay, so you go to those 2 classes. And oh, whoops, you got one of them, but the other one you don't have. So now what do? You're like left in a bad class that you didn't want to take. And this didn't used to be the case back in the day in the US, at least. Back in the day, we did never when I went to school, but this is back when our parents went to school in college. They would line up and they would go to different tables to pick their classes, which is also stressful because if you got to be like the first one in line in order to get all of your classes. And yeah, so basically the systems are pretty bad either way. And I feel like the article didn't fully say how bad it was because it's pretty difficult trying to sign up for classes. And it made it seem like it was a little bit easier than it was. So sometimes it's not so easy. Anyway.
It's a process. But if you register for classes that nobody else wants to take, you're golden. I mean, I've never had an issue getting into a Russian class. They don't fill up.
No.
Okay. Next point, syllabus is life. That syllabus, man, it will tell you everything you need to know about that class, how to pass it, when your teacher is going to be able to have office hours, when your exams are going to be. So they're just really important handouts to have. I like syllabuses.
Yeah, it just gives you the structure of the class. It's beautiful. And no surprises. You know what you're getting for the most part. And for those professors that don't hand out syllabuses on the first day, you know where that class is going.
Oh, Maddie.
And it's not going to go well.
That's pessimistic.
But true. Alex and I took a class last semester with a teacher here who didn't hand out a syllabus on the first day or the second day or ever for that matter. And it was a terrible class with little to no structure. And I couldn't deal with it. So there you go.
Maddie really likes structure, if you haven't noticed.
She does. I'm the one that writes all of this before we get in here, in case you guys didn't know. Yeah, so anyway, it's just me.
College is fun because you can kind of be your own boss. I mean, you're still restrained by, like, campus rules and, like, you know.
Legal stuff, like you can't drink until you're 21.
Yeah, no, being a college student doesn't get you away from the law. But
unfortunately.
It's a lot more responsibility than, let's say, high school because you actually have to manage your own time for, like, the first time in your life. So you have to be able to figure out, you know, this is when I'm going to study. This is when I'm going to eat. And you don't have your mom leaning over your shoulder like, you got to do this or that, or, you know. So it's good in a way if you're really independent, but it's bad if you cannot handle that responsibility. And it's part of growing up, right?
Yeah, it's good. It's good practice managing time and knowing what you can do and what you can't do. It's good practice for living in the real world, so to speak, when you're definitely probably going to be by yourself. Yeah. So
Hopefully.
hopefully, and not in your parents' basement, like Alex. Just kidding. I'll probably be the one that moves back in with my parents, actually.
In
debt.
long hours, very involved students, work never really stops. Yeah, that's the one thing I've had a hard time with at college. I am very good at being like, yes, I'll do that club. I'll take that class. I'll do that extra credit assignment. And college gives you the opportunity to over-involve yourself to the point where you're booked from like 8 a.m. to like 9 p.m.
It's a lot.
Yeah, and a lot of really, smart students are also really over-involved students because they just want to do everything. They want to learn as much as they can. So, yeah, college is as exhausting as it seems.
What do you do, Alex?
Oh God. Okay. I'm
Yes?
taking 5 classes, which is one more than the normal amount of classes. For one of those classes, I'm a teacher's assistant, which means I get to do I help the teacher out. And I get credit for it, but I have to do a lot of extra work outside the class other than just going to the classes, I'm involved with 101 Friendship, which meets bi-weekly more or less. I'm in band, so I meet for 2 hours once a week to play the flute. I am in our Herc Campus chapter, which is like an online blogging club. I'm involved with the Writing Colleagues, which is a other teacher's assistant kind of program. I help tutor students to write. And I also do Russian Area Studies Club, which I'm the president of.
One of the presidents.
Yeah, one of the presidents. I'm really involved, and that's just like a fraction of like the things you can do on campus because there's so many options, and I really just have a hard time choosing. I like to do everything. I'm also very stressed. It's good though.
We're good. But yeah, the work never really stops, but like
Grind never stops.
yeah, exactly. So you're like, you gotta be on top of it. But if you have like a mental breakdown in public, people just accept it because that's like what happens on the daily basis.
You make it sound so terrible.
Okay, that's me being dramatic, but
We love college.
we do, but
we love college so much.
there are times when you will have a mental breakdown, and it's okay.
That's life.
It is life, exactly.
So,
okay, so since we really don't have that much time left, we're gonna do a quiz, but I think it'd be better if you guys did questions now, if that's okay. Jesus, Alex. Oh. All right. You guys have any questions you want to ask us of any kind, vocab-wise, concept-wise, culture-wise? Alex plays the flute, for example.
Like general questions now?
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay. Is there anybody who wanna ask a question? Maybe for me first.
I was
No. Me. Could you tell me about the differences between extracurricular between clubs? What is the difference between extracurricular and then clubs?
extracurricular activities are it's an umbrella term. Clubs are a type of extracurricular activity. So extracurricular activities are anything that's outside the curriculum, which is like the school, like outside your
studies.
your courses. Yeah.
So extracurricular activities is like the big term, and clubs are under that term, as well as like, volunteering or basically anything else that you do outside of school. So clubs are a part of extracurricular activities.
A big part. Does that make sense?
Are we good? Does it make sense?
Sorry. So, I think club is part of extracurricular or no? Sorry nggak sih? Enggak bu. Enggak. Kurang jelas. Oh iya. So club is part of extracurricular or not? Or yeah, there's two different things.
Yeah, clubs are a part of extracurricular.
Yeah, because in Indonesia, extracurricular is like sports or music class, yeah, something like that is extracurricular in here. Right?
Yeah, it's the same thing here. Sports are extracurriculars.
So what is part of extracurricular?
What's part? Sorry. Sports. Yes.
Clubs, like one friendship.
Absolutely. But this is an extracurricular activity.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe for me, so maybe. Oh, Luis wanna ask something? No, not yet. Maybe Pak Fauzi.
I just wanna to say, so from the article I've read, the life of a student is different when he was in high school, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Definitely.
As a student, we are given the freedom to choose the lesson we will learn, right? The
Yeah.
major and the minor, and it will affect our value at the end, right? At our score, right? It affects, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So I have no question. I just want to.
Claire.
No, it sounds like you did a really good job understanding the article.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
I
want to training my English speaking.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
You got the whole gist.
You said it very well. Welcome.
Oh
I
yeah.
want a question. How about student organization?
Oh, new student orientation.
Organization.
Organization.
Yeah. Student
Organization.
organization.
Student organization.
Yeah. How? Dia tahu nggak sih?
I'm confused.
What exactly do you mean? Student organization?
Like
Club? Level.
Like, do the students run the clubs? Is that what you're saying?
No, different.
What do you mean?
Organisasi, student organization. Kayak OSIS, BEM, kayak gitu.
Oh,
Yeah, this is
we
different.
can understand.
I can, but I can't talk. Please help me, Bu Lala.
Please help us,
Indonesian.
Are you talking about how the students organize their materials, like for studying?
Or how do student run organizations?
Yes.
Yeah, like student organization. Is
Like
there a
in-
club in your college?
Like in high school, in Indonesia, we have organization like OSIS.
Like
OSIS.
So, are you just asking if students run these clubs and stuff?
Yeah, clubs are another word for student organization. They're kind of the same thing.
That's your question though?
yeah, maybe in America, like student organization is clubs like that.
Yeah, you would call them clubs. Student organization's kind of a mouthful.
Yeah.
So people don't really say it.
And clubs in high school are different than college clubs in that they both need advisors, definitely, but advisors are like I know, like in high school when I was in a club, we definitely needed an advisor, and she needed to pre-check everything. She needed to be way more involved than advisors of clubs in college because we're adults now and we can like, and they're way more student-run in college than they are in high school. So like, say like, you know, we were gonna take a trip to the store with Professor Anwar, like, you know, if it was during the school day, we would need like permission slips and stuff in high school. Hi, Professor. Like in high school, it would be like way more restricted, but in college, it's a lot more independent. It's a lot more on the student to perform and to step up and take charge of these organizations. So.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Go.
Is it exciting when student do club? I mean, extracurricular, exciting.
Are they exciting?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Usually.
Yeah.
I mean, there's sometimes meetings and stuff you have to go through that are just like a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Like, we had to go to the budget allocation committee, which is a very long word for you have to go and beg them for money so that we can do.
You have to go and talk to a committee of well-dressed, very intimidating students and faculty, and you have to stand up there and say, "Hello, we want money, and this is why." And they have to be like, "Why don't you have the proper paperwork?" And you say, "Well, I don't know. I just want the money." Yeah, so yeah, stuff like that is definitely not fun, but stuff like this is very much fun. Yeah, so it just depends.
Yeah, no. The end goal is fun, and student clubs can really do a lot of cool things if you can like pull together and pull it out.
Yeah,
You know what I
sometimes clubs pair up and they do big events with two sponsor clubs or even two or more sponsor clubs, and they work together for a similar event or for a similar goal sometimes.
Yeah, a lot of clubs will do like dinners, bake sales are common, parties.
Language
Yeah.
club.
Movie showings. I'm sorry, what?
Language club.
Yeah, the
Language.
Russian Area Studies Club that I'm a part of. We're planning a Russian
You
this
are
fall.
the president,
Make
right?
a bunch of Russian food.
We've done it now.
Yeah, I will talk about Russia all the time.
One-on-one friendship is also going to host a dinner in case anyone's interested.
I wanted to know about language.
And this is a language club. It's a dual language club.
I suppose you're right.
But yeah, we're not technically a language club. She's a language club, Russian club.
But yeah, no, they do fun stuff.
Definitely, and you're gonna have a dinner and stuff.
Yeah.
When is that?
Next month. So I guess it's 2 months from now.
Our dinner is gonna be in late October this year.
You are invited.
Yeah, if you guys can come, you are more
Far
than welcome.
away.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a little bit of a commute.
give or take like multiple days. But you know,
But yeah, no, long story short, student clubs are really exciting.
definitely.
They just can be kind of bureaucratic, which means a lot of processes to get things done.
The way it is, right?
Did that answer your question? Good one?
Yeah.
Yeah? Awesome.
I'm stuck in language.
You're stuck in language?
Yeah, I can speak English clearly.
You're doing really well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just not confident when I speak English. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is-
I'm part of that. I'm sorry, what?
Is my voice where? I don't know.
Yes, you're doing really well.
Yeah.
I mean, much better than we could speak Indonesian. That's for sure. I can't speak the lick of your language. Like, so if you think about like you are surpassing us, really.
Mhm.
And a lot of Americans will understand that, you know, that this isn't your first language. This isn't your first language. And be respectful of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's not our native language, right? So it's really hard to speak. Right?
Of course.
Yeah. That's something you should be proud of.
Absolutely. The more you practice, like, the easier it gets. And having these conversations are definitely great ways to do that.
I don't know what to say. Any question, please? I'm stuck.
Okay. How about volunteering club? Like I said, what is the main activity when we are getting involved in that club and in that club?
What's your main activity in a club? Is that what you said?
Volunteering.
Sorry?
Yeah, is it that in extracurricular you have volunteering?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
The main activity.
So like, what's a volunteering activity that you can do in a club?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is volunteering technically. There's clubs on campus that go to schools and teach kids. I know, teach kids with learning disabilities. I know that.
There's a club that will go to animal shelters and pet cats and dogs.
There's a club, or there's days of service, and they organize like giant days where everyone on campus can sign up to volunteer, and they go different places throughout the school, Geneva or whatever, and those are pretty big events as well. And there's lots you can do, and at least at HWS, we're very close with the city of Geneva, in that lots of the programs involve going into the community. Not just like doing stuff on campus, like definitely helping out Geneva and trying to make Geneva a better place as well.
Okay, so maybe most of the activity is like charity.
Like a what? I'm sorry?
Charity.
Charity?
Yeah, the most activity is from volunteering. It's like charity things.
It's like charity work, right? Yeah, like a charity is like a foundation, right?
Yeah.
Fundraise.
Yeah, like a fundraiser sort of thing.
Yeah,
a lot of the volunteering that happens on campus, I'm pretty sure, mostly has to do with like taking time out of your schedule to go do something else. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but a lot of individual clubs will do charity work too.
Definitely.
Like a lot of people are trying to get involved with the crisis that happened in Puerto Rico and raise funds, whether it's like you donate clothes, canned food,
Or actual money.
yeah,
Any of those things.
which is hard on a college campus because we're all pretty much broke.
Really. But you know, it's definitely like a really good idea. And they, I know there are people about DACA and stuff. So yeah, there's people in public places who do bake sales. Sometimes for certain things happening in the U.S., certain laws that people don't really want to be passed, and they might raise some money to help the people that the law might hurt or something like that, which is what happened recently. But
So the student from Hobart like help people around, yeah. When we are doing the volunteering club.
Does Hobart help people? Is that what you said?
Yeah, maybe I'm just make sure that when we are getting involved in volunteering, so we are going to help people all around America and like that.
Yeah, there's like there are definite ways that we also help the U.S. as a whole too. I'd say it's. I'm trying to think of an example.
Oh, yeah, what are you doing?
I think mostly what we do it has to do with Geneva. But like,
Oh my God, Papa Uji. What are you doing?
I don't know. People are always laughing what I do. What did I do?
are your sunglasses like? Do they have your glasses prescription in them?
Yeah.
Hey, mine do too. Okay, is your vision really bad like mine is? Nice. Stop.
I love it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Never apologize for that.
Amazing.
But yeah, there are certain things that we do in the U.S. Like we do for the U.S. I can't. I'm
Just
sure-
for America?
Yeah, like
Like there's a lot of political clubs too that will like raise awareness for like their party.
lots of awareness for voting as well.
Yeah.
They're very dedicated to signing up to vote and voting on this campus. Because surprisingly, not too many people in the U.S. actually vote for various things. Like I think about half the country votes in presidential elections, but even less than that number of people vote for local people, like mayors or governors or something like that. For the state, 'cause they don't care as much, and it's not as like publicized, I guess, on the news. But yeah, so HWS is definitely trying to increase voting. That's probably one of the biggest things about the U.S. as a whole. Yeah, that's all we got for that. Did we answer your question? Okay.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
What is? What are you guys laughing?
I mean,
Putri, do you want to ask something?
No, I think no.
nothing.
No.
Yeah, it's fine.
So, how many clubs do you getting involved in college, Maddie and Alex?
How many clubs are we a part of?
I think so many.
One-on-one. I'm a part of One-on-One Friendship Club. Obviously, I'm the president. I'm a part of Her Campus, with like Alex is, and it's just an online blogging sort of thing. So we basically just write articles every week, sort of low key. We just as women we write articles about life on our campus or just random things or things about the U.S. in general. It can pretty much be anything. And I'm also part of Fencing Club, which I explained to you earlier. It's just a sword fighting thing. So yeah, I'd say 3 solidly. What about you?
I think I have 4.
Wow.
Talking about strictly ones.
Yes, you're in Russian, Her Campus.
I am in
A
Wing
one-on-one
Ensemble
friendship.
and One-on-One Friendship.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, between the two of us, that's 7. 8. Wait.
No.
7. Got it. This is why I'm an E.
So the student can have more study club, right? Have more, just not one, right?
Have more what? Sorry.
More student clubs.
Yeah, you can be a multiple. Lots of
Oh,
members.
multiple. Right.
You can be in as many as your time allows. Although personally, I would not recommend more than 4.
No, I mean depending on how active you are in those clubs. Like, I just know that like me personally, I like investing myself in a few things, but doing them a lot. Like I'm president of One-on-One Friendship Club, and that's one club, but I am the president of it, and I'm pretty deeply invested in the club.
Yeah.
But that's just what I personally like to do. Some other people prefer to be in a lot of clubs at once, but be just like members.
And you need both, right?
Yeah,
It needs leaders and followers.
exactly. You can, you know, I'm a follower in the other two clubs that I'm in, and I'm a leader in this club, and Alex is a leader in Russian club, and follower in the other ones, right?
Like a mind one-on-one friendship.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, Alex is definitely a leader as well.
Not like the leader, but like
No, but she's definitely a leader. Her position is like undecided as of this point, but she's definitely here.
I'm definitely
She's
here.
definitely here to help. She's on the board. We just call it she's a board member. Better than a regular member. But,
I also just remembered I do drama club too, so that's fine.
oh, that's right. Oh, man. It's not like that. It's certain times of the year. Right?
Yeah, it's only but I like to act.
She's a wonderful actress.
Wow.
Stop.
I am really good at acting, but Alex is really, really good.
Thank
You
you.
will get the Oscar.
Oscar.
She'd start crying. It would be so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to and my mom.
And all the cats in my house. Cats?
I have a lot of pet cats.
Does, yeah.
It's incredible.
Talk about volunteering her.
Yeah.
Lots of cats.
My family raises cats for like stray cats, and then we adopt them out to farms. Cats, kittens, actually.
So her house is
Baby
like
cats.
full of small cats. I gotta go at some point. They're like tiny, probably adorable, everywhere.
It's a lot.
Alex has had pretty much every pet you can imagine. Fun fact.
Yeah.
She has a
Honestly,
tortoise. She had geese at one point, right? Those were legal. They're not legal.
No, you're not supposed to take them from the wild.
Well, you know, there you have it. She's a bad girl. She's like,
And my mom decided to raise them because they didn't have a mom, and we were going to release them, but they became imprinted on my mom, which means that they like thought she was their mother, and then they wouldn't leave. So that's
Anyway.
why I had pet geese.
yeah. So yeah, do you guys have any pets or lots of pets or no pets?
Yeah, I have 2 cats.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
a pet.
Cake in my home. I don't like.
Oh!
Look at my room.
She just pulls the cat.
Has
My
it been there
room
the
is like a zoo.
Like so.
Ooh, is that
Please.
what please show me.
I can because there's so
Is
many
it-
insects, you know.
insects? Oh, gross! Oh shoot!
Possible.
And sometimes it smells so.
Oh.
I need to clean the room.
Yeah.
Oh, fun fact about like dormitories or dorms here: you can't have pets of any kind except some fish.
So it's not
And we
prohibited.
we have pet fish in our dorm. So
Mm,
You can bring a cat to the door.
what's your cat's name?
His name is Obi. Obi.
Obi?
Obi.
Yes.
I have one more.
It's one
Yeah,
word.
I have one more. It's a girl.
Oh, you have one more. Oh, is this like your? This is where you live then?
No.
Mana bulan mana? Loh, wow.
Yay.
Hi guys.
They're just offline.
Oh, okay, join again.
Oh my god. Other cat.
I love cats. What a cutie.
Cat is cute.
Thank you, Eva.
Oh,
That's so cute.
Hi, Abby.
I love
We're
it.
not allowed to have cats in the dorms.
Although I'm trying.
Although you can ask for certain animals as therapy animals, so like stress reliever animals. If you have problems with that sort of thing, you can get animals for that.
Where are you, Orangey?
Yeah, and here's Orangey.
Different cat.
No, there's two. There's two.
That was Obi.
Yeah, we're talking about cats. Carly's outside. She's doing the beginning mentoring.
What's the orange kitties?
We're looking at Lala's cat. Yeah. This is Carly.
Hi.
This is Jilly.
I miss you, Carly.
They know you, Carly. Oh my god.
You guys.
They miss you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Lala, show the cats again.
Show it on camera. Show it.
The first one's named Obi.
What's the second one's name?
The orange kitty.
Pinky.
Orange. Orange.
Orange.
That's an orange, is it?
They keep
It's like
saying
what?
orange.
Oh, really?
It's gold.
Okay.
Oh my god, you said scheduling class equals Hunger Games?
No.
So true.
You know,
So true. Signs up at the exact same time.
we got
It's
that.
so stressful.
I'm missing
I
great
was in
detail.
Maddie's class with and others. We were all freaking out.
We had
Freaking out.
like all of our friends sleep over in our room.
I tried to sleep over, but I had to sleep on her floor. So I gave up and went back to my room and came back into their room early in the morning. Oh my goodness.
Enjoy. Julie is a first year, so.
Oh yeah, she's also in the
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Another Russian speaker. Ridwan, did you see that? What is
Yeah.
with that?
Do you know
Another Russian speaker, Ridwan.
Ah, privet. Privet. Privet.
What is that?
Oh, that's so
Spasibo.
They were just taking photos and stuff. All right, I'm gonna head out because I need to wake up early tomorrow.
Enjoy.
Enjoy.
Good to see you guys. I miss you
Bye.
guys.
Nice to meet you.
All right, bye.
Bye. Have fun.
Bye.
Alex. You too, Maddie. I'll probably
Bye. Yeah. Have a good one.
I think also our time is up. Right?
No, don't off, please. The time isn't over, you know. Please, I have to talk now.
Bye. Oh my god.
Already 9.
What's wrong now?
I have a story about cats, you know. I think I kind of have cats right now because my
Are you
neighbor,
Oh, your neighbor.
Oh.
my neighbor has a cat, and it always come to my house, go to my garden, and it poops. I hate it, you know.
It doesn't cover it?
I have to clean it every day. I have to clean it and every single day. The cat is always poop in my garden. Oh,
Yeah, you
I need
could
to.
grow
I
the
need
plant.
to translate.
Fertilizer.
Yeah.
You need to give it like toilet training because my cat is always put in their what is that in their
Yeah, the litter box.
litter bags. Yeah, my cat is pretty good. So I don't need to give them like toilet training.
I don't know what they're good.
So fun.
Apparently they poop in Ridwan's garden.
Oh my god.
When I want to watering the plants, I see something amazing, you know, like, whoa, what is that? I need to throw out to my neighbor. I had cats right now.
You hate cats?
Yeah.
I mean, I do, to be quite honest, if that was
Someday I was like a spy. I'm spying the cats when it's come to my garden, and I was like, aha, you know. Then I was like,
you like shoo them out?
then I take the something like can be thrown and wow.
Oh my god, Fauzi, kamu jahat.
No, you have the object to hit them, correct?
No, I'm not hit them. I just throw it too far, you know. It's, I'm the victim here. I'm the victim here, you know.
Oh my god, and you said you don't know English that well? Could be me.
The cat is coming. The cat is coming. You know?
The cat's coming now? Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. I was ready for.
You're
I was ready for.
Go get him! Oh my
Don't
god.
hurt him.
Can you turn the computer around or no? Is it a desktop? I want to see the cat.
I use the WLAN. If I move the laptop, I don't know how to say it.
It won't work?
The internet will stop. Yeah.
Oh,
Wow. Nuts. You'll have to tell us about it.
Play by
Everything about this cat.
Aduh, Fauzi.
You wanna see the poop?
Like, I'm good, thanks.
Oh my god.
I will take it right now.
You're gonna go get that cat.
Go get it, Ridwan. Oh my god. I feel this is better than watching like HBO or something. Real life spy.
What is oh my god.
This is dry poop, you know. It's
There. You got it with your bare hands?
No, he has a scooper.
Oh, thank God. I was like,
it's so smell. I had it.
Tapi keluar kan bisa.
is it done, Mr. Fauzi, Mr. Ridwan?
Huh?
Yeah, is it
What?
done? Your story?
Yes. Yes, I'm done.
incredible.
Are you okay if we finish the conversation?
Yeah, yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Because the one who don't want to finish the conversation is Ridwan, right?
All right. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you.
This has
was
been
so
great.
fun.
Yes.
Thank you very
Tell us
much.
all about it next time.
Yeah.
Have a good day, you guys.
Have a good day.
Spasiba, пожалуйста. That you're welcome.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.
Oh my God, Papa Uji.